Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Brown Bears Sports Report. I'm your host, Scott Cordischi. I'm glad you could join us for another edition of the show. The Brown Bears Sports Report brought to you each week by Elite Physical Therapy, the premier choice for physical therapy in Rhode Island. Elite Physical Therapy is staffed by a team of highly trained and talented physical therapists that specialize in treating back and neck pain, sports injuries, and surgical rehabilitation. It is your choice where to go. Well, it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the Brown Bears Sports Report this week the Brown field hockey team, and let's introduce their head coach and some of the student athletes that are with us. First, we say hello to head coach Jill Reeve. Jill, how are you tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here and speaking with you. And anytime I'm with my athletes to talk about field hockey, I'm happy.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you and your student athletes over the next 20, 30 minutes here. Kelly Raymond is a senior back from Salem, New Hampshire. She is with us tonight. Kelly, how are you doing?
I'm good, Scott. How are you?
I'm doing great. Kelly, thank you for being with us. Your teammate, Emma Rosen, a junior from Wilton, Connecticut, is with us. Emma, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, Emma. Thank you for being with us. And sophomore Emma Rothkopf from Wilton, Connecticut as well is with us. Emma, how are you doing tonight?
I am well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Well, thank you all for being with us. Jill, we'll go back to you. And obviously no season this year because of the pandemic. So what was this fall like for you, your coaching staff, and your student athletes? I know there was a time when you were able to work out in small groups and, get into the weight room in small groups. But what was this whole fall like for you and the field hockey program?
Well, I think it was really hard initially because you're suffering a little bit because you're not together in ways that you're used to. But it was really nice. By the time that we were allowed to get together, I think the anticipation of being back together was so high that it was really satisfying to be together, even if we're doing some conditioning, even if we're in the weight room. We weren't able to be utilizing a stick and ball or that type of training. But I think it was just to have all of our team. We were in two separate pods, but together at least a couple times a week was really, really fantastic. And fantastic for them too, because they all chose to come back. We had 18 athletes, so we had to strategically plan our practices and our times that we can be together and be in different pods based on their academic requirements or their class schedules. But it was good. It was good. We'll take what we can get.
Sure. Kelly, you're one of 6 seniors that will be graduating from the program and from Brown. I know this isn't how you thought your career would end, at least your field hockey career. But what's it been like for you this first semester?
It's definitely been an adjustment. And I think with everything in the pandemic, you have to take it in stride and you have to look at the pros because there are quite a few cons. One thing I keep going back to is that I've had a lot more free time. And I have spent that time just hanging out with the people that mean the most to me. And instead of rushing from class to practice, I have found myself sitting down and actually talking to my grandmother for 20 minutes instead of saying, I gotta go. I would give anything in the world to have had a season. But I also think it was the right decision. So I don't know. I think it's a hard end, but you got to roll with the punches.
Emma Rosen, I think Kelly brings up a great point. As tough as it's been for all of us to deal with the pandemic, I think a lot of good things have come out of it. And one of the things is we've all learned how to Zoom, right? We can do a lot of things virtually that we never realized we could do before.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's all been kind of a learning curve, but I think our team especially is also taking advantage of the Zooms and getting to know all of the incoming freshmen and, kind of talking and trying to get as much of a sense of normalcy back as possible, even though it is through Zoom.
In your first 2 years, you played all 33 games as both a freshman and sophomore on the team. And last year, you scored at Quinnipiac, and you had a game-winning goal as a freshman against Cornell. I'm sure you fondly remember the days of being out there competing on Goldberger Field with your teammates, and I'm sure you can't wait to get back to that, right?
Yeah, most definitely. I miss it so much. I mean, I've been playing field hockey for so many years, and it's the first fall that, I didn't get the chance to go to preseason and to start practicing with my team and to, be playing in games. But fingers crossed that, everything, works out accordingly and we'll be able to have a season next year. So.
Emma Rothkopf, you had 14 starts in 17 games as a freshman. I don't know what your expectations were coming in. I knew you were a terrific high school player. You set a school record with 34 goals as a senior. And then your collegiate career got off to a nice start. You had a goal and assist in that win over Bryant to start things off.
Yeah, I think as a freshman, like, I was very excited to join the team here at Brown. I'd been at Brown for a while through other kinds of like field hockey, like just experiences and practices. So I think over the years I met like the team and the coaches a lot. So I was definitely like just super excited to join everyone. And I think since coming to Brown has been like the most amazing experience I've ever had in my life. And I'm so grateful. And it's more than I ever could have like thought or even like imagined and hoped for.
Now, you and Emma were high school teammates. Did her presence here have something to do with you winding up here at Brown?
Yes. Emma and I have been playing together since I think like 5th grade clubs. So it's really awesome to be teammates again.
Jill, last year when you guys were on the field, you had a winning record at home, 5-4. I mentioned the win over Bryant. You shut out Bryant, Holy Cross, and Hofstra, and you had some good wins over Dartmouth and California. What do you remember about last season?
Oh man, yeah, we did start really strong, and I think one of the feathers in our cap was a game against Cal where we really were prepared and had a mental edge on that day. And with the other wins as well, I think that our team kind of came out like gangbusters and took advantage and really played to our abilities really, really well. It's exciting. It's exciting when people are playing up to their potential and playing really well as a unit.
Kelly, I know I talked to you before. You went to the Brooks School and you're from not too far from here, maybe about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes north in Salem, New Hampshire. How did you wind up here at Brown? Were you being recruited by other schools to play field hockey? And what made Brown University the right spot for you?
So when I was looking at schools, I knew I wanted to have a balance of playing field hockey in college, but at the end of the day, education is of the utmost importance, largely because unless you play for the Olympics, your field hockey career is over after 4 years. So you have to think a bit more about the future. So I actually toured Brown as a student without ever talking to the coaches, and it was snowing so bad, I almost didn't go. And even then, I still fell in love with the campus. And if I can like Brown on its worst day, then I knew I would love it on its best. So after that, I talked to the coaches. I went to camp. I played my heart out and approached Jill and said, "Where am I on your list?" And then really from there, which is so crazy to think about now that I'm a senior. But then from there, I really put all my eggs in a basket with Brown. I was looking at a few other pretty similar schools, but Brown just stood out and I knew it was the place that I wanted to be. And so I committed October of my junior year and haven't looked back since. It has truly been the greatest experience and I wouldn't change it for the world.
I know you didn't know this when you were going through it last year in your junior season, that it would be your last season on the field as a Brown Bear, but you did assist on game-winning goals in that exciting win over Cal and Holy Cross. So a couple of highlights for you there to close out the career, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pretty crazy feeling knowing that your last game, you didn't know it was your last game. And I was just talking to my parents at dinner because I'm home now. And as you said, I play defense. And ever since I think my freshman year in high school, my mom has had this bet with me that if I score a goal, she'll give me $100, knowing that I would never score a goal, even though I'm now a Division I athlete. And so it was the running joke on our team once I got on our corner unit and started getting assists that my mom started to get nervous and she would bring $100 bill to the games, but she never got to use it. So
Well, hopefully you can get that $100 another way.
I know, I got to get creative.
Emma Rosen, or maybe I should just call you Rosie, right? That's what Coach Reeves calls you. But Emma, you are a junior, and the old adage is absence makes the heart grow fonder. Are you that much more excited for next season, having missed a whole season of competitive play this year?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, field hockey has been such a big part of my life for so long, and it's always been, I mean, I know for myself and a lot of my other teammates, it's also kind of an outlet for us to kind of go to the field to put everything else that's like stressing us out or we're like whatever we're worried about to the side. We kind of get to just go to the field and be ourselves and do our thing. And I think not having the opportunity to do that for such a long period of time now definitely is making us all a little antsy to want to get back to things.
Sure. Emma Rothkopf, just out of curiosity, so you're all now either at home or going home for a Thanksgiving break, and then you'll stay home for the holidays, right? I think you'll take exams virtually and all of that stuff. How do you think that's going to go? Are you excited to do it this way? I mean, this is obviously different than the norm, but you guys are going home and you won't be back until after winter break is over with, correct?
Yeah, it should definitely be interesting. I think I'm just happy to have had the opportunity to be on campus this fall. So I'll take like 3 weeks at home, like doing school over like the whole fall. So was definitely grateful for the last 2 months or so that we were on campus together.
Jill, Kelly is one of 6 seniors that'll be graduating from your program. What do you say to the 6 seniors? Obviously, their careers are over with. Hopefully, somehow, some way, before they graduate in the spring, maybe there can be some type of get together with the team to honor those seniors. But what do you say to the 6 seniors that'll be leaving your program this spring?
I would just say thank you. I think after our last season, I think every season you close out the season, you look back and you're like, oh, we could have done this better. We could have done that better. And I think with our seniors that we have now, they showed up like the day after the last season. They're like, okay, coach, this is our vision, and this is where we think that we can do better. And I think for that, our senior class, it is sad that they weren't able to exercise their vision, but I think that I say thank you because I think they've already had their impact. I think that they've created a space where our entire team has been able to survive and kind of thrive in this atmosphere. And I don't think it would have looked the way it looks now without that class.
Kelly, I've talked to you about this in the past. At the Brooks School, you were friendly with a fellow student athlete at Brown who was also a senior playing for another program. Would you care to tell everybody who's watching who that is?
Ticho.
And so you guys knew of each other at the Brooks School, and then when you found out that you were both attending Brown, did you become a little bit closer friends, and he follows you, you follow him?
Yeah, so when I entered my freshman year at Brooks, he was actually a sophomore, and then he repeated his sophomore year. So then we were in the same grade, and Brooks was pretty small. There were only like 100 kids in each grade, but I didn't really get to know him until we both committed to Brown, and it was just like this shared thing that really sparked our friendship. And there's actually 3 of us from Brooks that go to Brown, and all 3 of us are athletes. And we're the only 3 kids in my grade that went to Brown, which is very strange. So it's me on field hockey, T on basketball, and Henry on crew. So it's just like this really interesting network because we do come from such a small school, and the fact that we all ended up at Brown and our athletes is pretty crazy. But it's nice just to have that sense of home, even when you're at school, that there's this person or people that understand like what Brooks was like and coming here, because there are a lot of similarities, but there are a lot of differences. And I think T and I leaned on one another with our seasons being canceled and just kind of going through it this summer, waiting for different decisions. So it's just nice to have that support too.
I grew up not too far from Brooks School. It's a beautiful place. So it says on your bio on brownbears.com, you're a poli-sci concentrator. Is that correct?
Yes.
And do you have any plans for after graduation, or do you know what you'd like to do after graduating from Brown?
So no specific plans yet. I definitely want to work in government or on environmental issues, ideally both. But I am really only looking in Boston. My parents live just outside the city, and my sister also lives in Boston. One of my best friends, also from Brooks, is going to be living in Boston. So all the stars are just kind of aligning. And so any chance to be close to my family I want to take. And that was also part of the reason I came to Brown too, is that my parents get to come to every single game. And I think that was one of the adjustments this fall, that I didn't realize that I don't get to see my parents every weekend anymore, which is just such a funny experience that you take for granted. You think you're going to miss game day so much, which I obviously did. And I'm like, wait, Mom's not bringing me some extra groceries every week. This is weird. My bills are higher.
You have to fend for yourself now.
Yeah, adulting.
Emma Rosen, what is your concentration?
Business, entrepreneurship, and organizations, and I'm going the organizations route.
Okay, and do you have an idea? I know you have another year to worry about this, but do you have an idea what you'd like to do after graduating from Brown?
I mean, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm kind of in the midst of all of those internship applications and everything, and I've got a wide variety of things I'm looking at. I mean, there's some stuff with social media, some stuff with marketing and advertising, some like communications types of things that I'm looking at, kind of a wide range.
And we talked about you being teammates with Emma in high school. How did you wind up here at Brown University? What were some of the schools that you were looking at, and what made Brown the right fit for you?
Similar to Emma, I had been coming here for quite some time. We both participated in this like program. It was called Futures. It's the USA Field Hockey's like Olympic development program, I guess you would call it. And so I kind of got familiar with campus, and every other school I ever went to, I compared it to Brown, because Brown, at the end of the day, was my dream school. And I mean, once I realized that, I was like, this is where I belong. And I kind of talked to the coaches and made the decision to come here.
Emma Rothkopf, what's your concentration? Have you decided on one?
I'm still undeclared, but I think I'm going to major in biomedical engineering.
Mm-hmm. And so what would you like to do there? Is that kind of a pre-med thing, or have you?
I'm considering being a pre-med, but probably not. I'm still not really sure what I'm trying to do post-graduation, but I'm hoping to figure that out the next 2.5 years or so.
Jill, the field, as I mentioned earlier, that your team plays on is Goldberger Field. And I've talked to Kelly about this in the past. One of your biggest fan, maybe your biggest fan, is Kevin Goldberger. He can be seen at just about every Brown field hockey game.
Yeah, I mean, he's the best. So, I think Kevin, he's there. Oftentimes we'll just join our huddle, make sure that we know that it's time to win a game. And I think he's a special character for our team and being a member of our team.
And am I correct in saying that are there plans, hopefully in the works, to have new locker room space? I think, did you have your wet space in your locker room redone? And is the plan to have a locker room renovation for field hockey somewhere down the line soon?
Yeah, I think there's been steps taken toward that. I think renovating the wet space so it's tolerable. But I think there's a bigger vision, and we're looking forward to the next steps of having a space that would really, really be a great space for our team.
So during the pandemic, recruiting has changed dramatically. Again, everything is virtual. What's it been like for you and your staff on the recruiting end of things? And do you think this will change the way that you and other coaches throughout college sports do recruiting in the future?
I think the access to Zoom has allowed us to have more, I feel like more contact. So we've made evaluations for, in the last, for 22 class or 23 class and beyond that. And now we have a chance to meet the players, their families in their houses. It gives us access internationally without, spending a ton of money. I really like it. I think the drawbacks are, they're not going to be able to, the junior class that we're recruiting now, they're not going to physically be able to be on campus. So they're going to have to decide on the college they're going to go to for 4 years without ever stepping on campus. So I think, there are drawbacks, but I think Brown has done such a really great job of giving them access to virtual tours, guided tours. Our team has been really instrumental in a lot of the visits where, a recruit be visiting with half our team so they can have as a virtual on-campus visit as that we can create. So, I mean, it's really provided a lot. It's not exactly the same, but I mean, it's as good as you can hope for at this point.
Kelly, I don't know if you or any of your fellow seniors have even given thought to something like grad school, but with the pandemic and everybody losing a year of sports, there's those additional years of eligibility remaining if you wanted to play going to grad school somewhere else. Have you talked to any of your fellow seniors about whether or not they plan on going to grad school and if playing field hockey would be in their future?
So we're in kind of an interesting position as a class because some people already have jobs. Some people are thinking about going to grad school. So if you have a job secured, it's a bit harder to think about putting that off and playing. But one of my teammates, roommates, and fellow captains, Anna Canib, she got accepted to Wake Forest for grad school. And she considered potentially playing, but she's also considering trying to join the coaching staff if that's available to her. I think she's trying to weigh out the options and see, does she want to train? Does she want to train over winter? Does she want to train over the spring and join a team that is really competitive and really good in an ACC team? Or is there a potential for her to join the coaching staff, get everything she loves about field hockey, get to still play with the girls, but not have to get on the line, which are two very different things. So I think she's really the one considering it. Everyone else, I think, is more focused on jobs at this point, just because, even the fall could be uncertain, like knock on wood, I hope that we're all vaccinated by then, but if you have a job offer, I think to put that on hold for almost even more uncertainty, I think is hard because we've been through a lot of that already. And I think for me and where I'm at in just like my headspace, it's almost easier just to move on. And I haven't played since last November in a game. So to try and get back in game shape is almost way harder than it ever was. So I think people are weighing their options, and I'm excited to see. I hope to get to see one of my teammates play again. That would be really awesome.
Kelly, have you been able to take advantage of it all, the Brown Alumni Network, whether it be former field hockey players or just Brown graduates in general that are out in the working world, and connecting with them and beginning that networking process while you're still here at school?
Yeah, I think the Brown Network is phenomenal. I've talked to a few field hockey players, but I've really found that athletes, non-athletes, everyone is just so helpful. I actually spoke with a former Brown baseball player who graduated last year because he works at a company I'm applying at, and he was giving me some interviewing tips. And it was just a LinkedIn message, and he was super responsive and got on a phone call with me. I even find that in Brown School of Professional Studies, people who didn't even study at Brown undergrad, they're so helpful, very quick to respond. It's been one of the best ways for me to get my foot in the door with interviews and jobs and just understanding even what's out there, because I think that you always do a job that you don't even know exists. Like you think that you can be a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, but most of the time you don't fall into any of those roles. So it's just been really great to hear from people what they do, how they got to where they are, and just any advice that they have to ride the storm.
Emma Rosen, the three of you have talked about the many things that attracted you to Brown University. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the open curriculum, because that's a big selling point for Brown, as you well know. And I'm just curious, are there any unique classes that maybe you've taken over the past 2.5 years here at Brown that you just said, you know what? Yeah, it's not related to my concentration, but I'm going to take that because I can. It interests me.
Yeah, actually, So last fall, I took a CS class, and I kind of wanted to take it because I knew that it would also help me with career options and exploring different careers. But I also wanted to take it because it seems super interesting to me. I know a couple of my teammates also take a lot of CS classes, and I knew that I'd have a little bit of help if I needed it. Um, but I actually loved it so much that I actually took another CS course last spring. I didn't love that one as much just because it was a lot more complicated. We got a lot more into the code. I learned it was not my thing, but I loved it.
But you got to experiment. That's the great thing about
Exactly.
it. Emma Rothkopf, same question to you. The open curriculum, is that something that, that you enjoy? And have you taken any courses that really interested you, or was maybe outside of your concentration or comfort zone just because you wanted to try it?
Yeah, it's been awesome so far. I'm not sure that I've taken any like cool classes yet because I've been kind of stuck in like the intro sequence, like just because of my concentration. But it's been so great, like just to take classes that like I like care about and like and it's have like a passion for. Like I think I've only taken STEM classes like since being here, and like that's like perfect for me. So it's really just been a great experience, and I think it's an awesome part of Brown.
Jill, is that something you sell on the recruiting trail? I would imagine it is.
Absolutely. I think it's one of the greatest things about Brown, the open curriculum. I think in my experience and going to school, it's like you show up and they say, this is what you're going to take this year and next year and the next year. And honestly, when you get to choose your own courses, the kids are happy. The Brown student athletes are one of the happiest kids on the planet because they're engaged 100% into their classes because they handpicked them, and they're playing the sport that they love, and they love Brown. I think it's really telling to have all our 18 athletes back this fall because they just want to be together. They want to be at Brown, and that's all there is. It's easy questions to answer.
Sure. Well, Coach, I'm going to let you have the final word if you want to say something to Kelly and the fellow seniors, or Kelly, Emma, and Emma who joined us here on the show. The stage is yours.
Well, I'll tell you, hardship brings out character. And I would say that, I'm thankful to have the Emmas and Kelly on this call, but I will say that our team has risen to the occasion. They've really persevered in this space. And not only that, they're happy, and they're in it. You kind of worry. Everybody's in a different space in their educational process, getting jobs, not getting jobs, internships. And, I think that they've stuck together, they found their way through, and I couldn't be more proud. So I'm super, super proud of them.
Very well said, Coach. Kelly, congratulations to you, and thank you for your 4 years of commitment to not just the field hockey program, but to Brown University, and we certainly wish you the best. Emma, we can't wait to see you back on the field next fall, vaccine permitting and everything returning back to normal. And Jill, thank you, all of you, for joining us on the show tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Scott. We really appreciate it too.
All right.
Thank you, Scott.
Jill Reeve, Kelly Raymond, Emma Rosen, and Emma Rothkopf from the Brown field hockey team with us on this week's edition of the Brown Bears Sports Report.
This has been a presentation of Learfield IMG College.